Women, Season 1 is brought to you by the Kitty Rose Lifestyle, The Next Chapter, Black Women Matter, Pin AI, and NetHub. Okay, welcome to Women Invest in Women. The mission of Women Invest in Women is to ensure that we have a global economic ecosystem centered around sisterhood, humanity, and the diaspora. We are currently on our Season 1 global tour where we'll be going to 8 cities, 5 states, 4 countries. We are here in my home, Miami, and in my workspace that I co-own with my mother called JT Workspace in Hollywood, Florida, South Florida. And it's been my honor and my privilege to meet so many amazing women in this space for the last 5 years. And so I got my girl, Letha. That's how I always remember. I remember Letha. Right. Yes. And so I believe we met at our mutual friend's place, PS Social. Yes. And I might have been crazy and like working the bar, helping him out, working the bar. He was like, you're a bartender. I'm like, no, but I do like my libation, so I know how to make a good drink for the people. Hello, holla. But you know, Talitha, you have been such an amazing community organizer, ecosystem builder here in Miami. It has been my honor and my privilege getting to know you for the last several years. So thank you for being here on Women Invest in Women.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So shall we go do Talitha, Letha, what, or
yeah,
Letha,
no,
Letha?
We
What we doing?
Start with the Letha, like Letha.
Yes, I love it. Letha like Letha. Okay, so Letha, tell the people a little bit more about you.
So I'm Talitha, Letha for short, like lethal. And I really got the lethal because I'm your lethal weapon for success.
Yes. Let's give it up. Lethal weapon for success.
Right. I am a financial professional, licensed, right? So we gotta look out for what we be hearing nowadays. We want to make sure that someone is licensed to tell you whatever they be telling you, right? About the promises.
People tell you all kind of stuff, but do you have the credentials behind what you are saying?
Show me that contract.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm multidisciplinary. I'm also a owner of a small production company, and I'm an investor on a tech app called QuickLick. It's an alcohol delivery service. So yeah, my background is really in hospitality, and through that, I fell in love with finance.
Yes, I love it. So talk a little bit about, well, first of all, before we even get there, tell us one thing that most people may not know about you.
What most people don't know about me is that I'm Brazilian. So I'm Afro-Latina.
Yes, Afro-Latina.
Okay. People guess everything but. So I like to let people know that the roots is Black and Latino over here.
I love that. So let's go back to your entrepreneurial journey, the hospitality, and interesting getting into finance. How did hospitality make you think finance is really a place that I need to get to?
So I was, like I said, I'm a small business owner, right? So I was blessed to have a production company that did Miami Swim Week. We were one of the first NOR produced swim week shows. So we were one of the first inclusive, where you saw every type of shape, size, and color in our shows. And we shut down a block on Miami Beach, Española Way, which was unheard of in the time. Yes. And through that journey, it was amazing, really high highs, right? We made a lot of money during swim week, but then life happens. And I like to say that I think God pushed me down the stairs. Come on the last day of this big show, basically, like, I'm getting picked up by shows like around the world. They're calling me. They want me to bring exactly what I'm doing in Miami to them. And I go fall off the stairs at
Oh, you mean you literally fell
I
down?
literally fell down the stairs.
Literally fell down the
I
stairs.
literally fell downstairs, sprained my ankle, and no longer could work events
What?
for months.
Wow. From a
And
sprained ankle.
from a sprained ankle.
Wow.
Because, like, you know, you have to move around, you know, women and everything, you have to be in person. I used to work like major concerts and everything, so I had to squeeze through people, and now I'm over here in a little scooter. Like, I can't. Like, I had to regroup and repurpose, right? And it was like so many high highs and then this low hits. And I had made a lot of money, but no one had taught me how to invest it, how to diversify it, how to grow it, how to make it stable, so that if something happened to me like this, I would have still had money coming in, right? So I started, actually, my mother suffered from, I mean, not my mother, my grandmother suffered from dementia. Right around that time. This was all like around COVID, which is another story, right? My grandma was suffering from dementia. My mom, an educator, right? Almost like your mom, like mom's making strides, go them. She sat down with me and she was like, "This is what my pension looks like. This is what your inheritance looks like. This is what yada yada yada. This is what my investments look like. God forbid something happened to her before my grandma, we would have to go on and take that responsibility." And she sat us down like an adult and broke us down. And I'm looking at her like, what are you talking about? Right? Wow. Like, she had that traditional planning and everything that we no longer really have, especially as an entrepreneur. I'm a small business owner. I'm like, Mom, I do everything myself. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, no, you know, I'm a college grad. Let me do my own research. Let me find out, how does money work? And I started doing my own research. I got licensed, and then I started doing financial planning. I got picked up by a Fortune 100 company, and now I am licensed to be a financial professional. And it really comes from being that small business owner and wanting the resources, wanting to know how to invest, wanting how to know how to put my people on and help my family, but not knowing, like, okay, where do I access these resources? I was like, okay, I'll do it myself. Yeah. And here I am.
Here you are. I want to go back to that moment where your mom sat you down, right? And I've had these conversations with my parents as well, and I think these are actually privileged. They're scary conversations.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this: they're emotional conversations, but they are privileged conversations because a lot of times parents don't really talk to their kids about what they have set up, what they're thinking about, and vice versa. Sometimes us as the children have to be like, Mom, Dad, do you have this set up?
Yeah.
What's going to happen when you're no longer here? And no one wants to think about that, but the ending of life is a part of the life cycle and the life journey. Right. So I would love to just take us back to that moment when your mom sat you down and talked about what she had going on. Tell us from an emotional standpoint, but also what were the things that she actually did have set up for you? And now that you're a licensed financial planner, have you gone back to her and been like, actually, we need to restructure some things, or here, some things are great, but like, let's have ongoing conversation?
Yeah, so she's a educator in the New York City's system. So she has like a traditional pension for those type of government workers. They do have also like an extra deferred account they can kind of invest in, that she did invest in early. And then she had, you know, back then, like, Susie Orman was everything, right? So she did a few like money market accounts. She's dabbled in the little type savings with a high yield savings. Of course, she had like life insurance to protect us, and a few little stocks. And literally, whatever, she used to say that if someone told her that this is what she had to do to prepare, she was like, okay, let me do it. And emotionally, it really just looked like a lot of paperwork when she's talking to me, right? Like, she puts out all these papers and she's like, yeah, so this is this. And I'm just looking at her like, what do you mean? Like, I don't get a pension. I'm a small business owner. Like, what do you mean you have this deferred account that they're giving you because you just got to do it yourself? It comes out your paycheck and you're not even looking at it, right? So those were the things that she had in place. And yes, as I became a professional, I was like, Mom, we got to maximize this. We got to move this. We got to turn this a little. I like to talk a lot about like the 3 tax buckets, which is like no tax, pre-tax, which is everything that comes out of your paycheck, and after tax, which is everything after your paycheck.
Right.
So we were like, Mom, let's diversify these buckets. Like, she's like my number one guinea pig at this point.
I
Like,
love that.
but no, I've also, when I'm setting up her stuff, I know it's also for me and my future and my brother, and it's for our family.
Yeah.
It's a family trust now. It's generational wealth that we're building. So, it's
Letha, you
definitely
have
a
said
journey.
a few words. So here I wanna talk. There's two things I want to talk about. You talked about the family trust, so we're gonna go there, but let me just like pause for a second, because the other piece was you were like, Mom, I'm a small business, I don't have pension. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, because I actually tell people all the time, if you're a small business, you should still be putting money into a retirement fund.
Right.
Let's talk about this, right? Because a lot of folks, we're young, we're healthy, we're not thinking really about the legacy that we are necessarily building, especially if we're a solopreneur or extremely small business, or if it's just like a side hustle. So how do we ensure that we do have our retirement fund coming on, that we're thinking even at the beginning that the foundation is laid out for a legacy after we leave?
Well, this is why, like, I volunteer in schools, right? Because it starts with the education. It starts young, right? The younger we tell our people, and the more we tell our people, the better it is. A dollar today, like, even us, right? We know, like, what the dollar does today doesn't do the same thing than COVID, which was only like 4 years ago, right?
Yeah, sure.
So, like, the same thing that my $100 does yesterday doesn't do the same thing that it does now. And I think that when we talk about that your $5 was worth more yesterday than it is today, then people will start realizing, oh, my $5 yesterday could do so much more for me if I start planning my retirement at 65 when it's too
late. So,
not it's too late, but
well, we can always leave,
it's not too late.
right.
The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is
It's
today.
right now. Yes, that's right. Exactly.
So it's never too late, but a 25-year-old's $500 is going to go so much further than when you're 45.
Right.
Because you have, first of all, time to kill, less responsibilities, right? Life is just like,
plus the money will compound over time.
Compound
anyway.
interest is about time. Is about letting your money grow with time. So if you're starting later, then time is money.
Yeah.
So you missed all that compound interest, all that, and learning to start early, learning to take care of yourself. I think that a small business and this hustle culture that we're like stuck in is like, oh, let's take care of everybody else except myself. I'll deal with myself later. And it's like, no. Take care of yourself first.
Yeah, right.
Reassess where you are, where you want to be, and plan for yourself. And you'll be so surprised. You will thank yourself later. If you start now, then
what tomorrow. You're talking about is really paying yourself first, right? Before you think about your bills, before you think about anything else, you would think about where does the money need to go so that I am covered, but also my family is covered. So now let's talk about, you just said you're creating a family trust. Baby, we're talking some words here, because a lot of folks, especially in our community, don't talk about family trust. We don't talk about family bank and what it means to have a family bank office. And oftentimes I've realized that when people think about it, they think you have to already have multi-millions of dollars to put this together. But you can actually just come together as a family and lay the foundation. Every rich family that we know today started off somewhere small,
right?
And then they built the foundation that we now see. But we can be those families, right? Like in 50 years, I want the Jackson Thompson name to just be out there like the Rockefeller name.
And
okay,
and it will be,
and it will be, and it will be. Okay.
Well, I mean, what you just said right now, like foundation, right? That's where it starts, right? You can't, if you're thinking about life as a house, or we all want to own a house, right? That's like, oh, own land, but also your financial house, your business house, right? You need to have a strong foundation, because if you don't have a strong foundation, what are you building, right? And that's in your beliefs and everything you do. If you don't have a firm foundation, then you can easily be knocked down, right? So it's like
the Three Little Pigs, like the straw, blow your house down, and then
exactly
got blown down.
And then which one stayed? The bricks.
Yes.
Because
can't blow down that brick.
Right, brick by brick.
Brick house. Okay, let me.
Yes, brick house and brick by brick, brick from brick from brick. Exactly. It's per brick. It's step, little steps, you know. Before you make a business, you make a business plan. Before you build a building, the architect maps out a plan, you know. Before you start investing, like, you're not going to put $100,000 in something that you absolutely have no idea. You're going to build a plan, you're going to do your research. So, like, remembering that it is really brick by brick, and knowing that it's step by step, and it is baby steps. It's that compound interest, right? That 1% get 1% better every day will change everything for you.
Yeah.
And will really, like, set up those things. But like you were saying about trust, a lot of our people really don't trust anybody. And I think that's where it comes from too, because we're like too much do it ourselvesers. Like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna do it myself because I don't trust anybody to touch my stuff. But there are people that are like, you know, you're not gonna go fight your own court case. Like, you gotta go to the lawyer, right? You're not gonna prescribe yourself your own medicine, right? You gotta go to the doctor. So it's like, find a professional, find a mentor, find a group, like intern, be connected with people that are doing what you want to be doing, so you can make a plan and take that step-by-step action, and then you can trust somebody.
Yes.
And then you can trust someone like a financial professional to
Yes,
teach
give yourself your applause. Yes,
how to
yes,
start building your trust.
yes.
And it really is basics. Like, if you have an LLC, you have something to put in a trust.
Period.
That's
It's
it.
an asset.
Yeah,
Owning
it's
an
an
LLC
asset.
is an asset. That's
And
right.
talking about assets, you're your biggest asset. Because without you, who's going to make the money? Who's going to spend the time? I can't get in your brain, like, the resources you have and everything. So you are your biggest asset.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to protect you as an asset?
That's such an interesting point, because we see that celebrities do that quite a bit. They literally, everything about them is insured. Their name, their body.
Beyonce's legs is like
everything is insured. Actually, Beyonce is a great study case on not only insuring yourself as an asset, but also all the asset protection.
Oh,
When she puts out a name that we all go with, like
Beyonce,
Sasha Fierce, Cowboy Card, like all that, she automatically gets a trademark right away. She uses her lawyers, make sure it's all protected. If anyone uses it, she's gonna make her money. Da 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 da. So, granted, we don't all have Beyonce money, but if you have Beyonce brain set, like understanding how we go through things, then you walk and move a certain type of way. Yeah. So I love that idea. So there are going to be a lot of entrepreneurs out here in the world. What are some steps that you think that entrepreneurs should take to make sure that they are protecting their business and themselves as an asset?
Well, I would say that, like you were saying earlier, pay yourself first, right? Remember that you are your greatest asset. If you are no longer here, then all your assets no longer exist, right? So, and then writing it down. Like, 50% of Americans, that's 50% of Americans don't even have a plan written down.
You know what I also heard? 50% of okay, this is actually funny. I literally have conversations in my head all the time, and then I heard that like 50% of people don't have conversations in their head all the time. I'm like, I didn't know that. What is going on in your brain if you're not talking?
Elevator music.
A little music going on. Like, okay. Explains a lot about the world today. Okay, anyway. All right. So yeah, so tell us some more about what we can do to protect ourselves.
So the GPS, right? It needs to know your location, your destination, to map out where you're gonna go. If it doesn't know where you're starting and where you're ending, what is the GPS gonna do? Load?
Yeah.
Right? So that's why I think that most people have to do just a quick inventory of themselves. Okay, where am I starting? Where am I ending? And now let me map out
the steps.
So it really is like, okay, just being conscious of it. That first step is really writing it down. Because not a lot of us are just like, oh yeah, I have a plan in my head. Great, that's great. But how is that going to be in fruition? Yeah. How are you going to bring that to the bank?
Yes.
Right?
Bring it to the bank.
Exactly. And the second would be budget, which is that same thing about sitting down and plan. Like, look at your numbers, review your numbers, and talk to yourself truthfully. Like, do I really need $5 of Starbucks every day? You know, Or do I maybe need an espresso machine that might be a smaller, a
A
bigger
larger
investment at
investment,
one
but
time,
right, but over
but
time, it
with
saves you money.
time, is it gonna, you know, or like I have an iPhone. Do I also have a stock in Apple? Because
Baby, I love that you said that because anything that I buy that I have physically, I also own stock of that company.
that's my new thing.
Yes,
Girl,
absolutely. I'm not a financial planner. I'm not a financial advisor. So let me just say that we are not giving
this is
financial
not
advice
financial
around that, right?
advice, please.
But I do say if you're going to spend your money to have the thing, you might as well also get your stocks because that means that you own at least a little percentage.
Yeah, this is not investment advice at all. Like, please sit down because everyone's journey is different, right? Someone might be starting at $10, some might be starting at 100,000. Right now we're going through the biggest wealth transfer
Yes, I'm
in the
glad you brought
world.
that up. I talk about that all the time.
Right?
Yes, Lisa.
All the boomers are booming, and that means that all of us are going to be left with
millennials are going to be. We're
Right?
gonna, even though we're struggling now, we're gonna be actually the wealthiest generation.
If we
within the
plan
next 10
correctly
years.
right now, we're even wealthier.
Yeah, it's true.
And not
having
be
those
lost.
difficult conversations with our parents who should be thinking about the legacy
Unfortunately,
and,
right?
and thinking about
The two things that they don't teach us about in school that are guaranteed are death and taxes.
Yes.
And that's where the education comes
no
in.
taxation without representation. Sorry, I have to say that.
Period. No taxation without representation. And that's the problem. Because we're no longer being represented.
Okay.
No one is telling us about taxes. Who here knows how their taxes work?
Listen, we can go in. Like, really, we can go in, but we won't go 100% in. Listen, we're going to wrap up. What is one word or 3-word sentence you have inspirational for our audience?
I would say life, love, and legacy.
Life, love, and legacy. Love that. Yes, let's give snap, snap, snap. Thank you so much, my friend Talitha, for being here. Appreciate you. Women Invest in Women. We'll be right back right after this break.
What if your brand could travel the world, be seen by millions, and align with a movement that changes lives? Introducing the Women Investing in Women Global Tour, directed by visionary media leader Kitty Rose and moderated by the empowering Kwamara Thompson. Our show reaches 4.7 million homes through broadcast television and is streamed on all major podcast platforms. That means your product, your service, your message, right in front of an audience of investors, buyers, and culture shapers. This is more than media. It's a movement. This is women investing in women. Want in? Limited spots, global reach, real impact. Contact us today to advertise with purpose.
Okay, welcome back to Women Invest in Women. We are here in Miami, South Florida. Women Invest in Women. We are a global tour creating a global economic ecosystem centered around sisterhood, the diaspora, and humanity. It is my pleasure always to bring in some of the amazing, dynamic women that I have met in Miami. And Krishana, you have been my right hand for quite a few things. So first of all, let's just give it up for Krishana Marie over here. Yes, yes, yes. She's an amazing ecosystem builder, but you lead with heart, love, and joy. And I really appreciate that, my sister. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So for those of us who don't know you, can you please tell a little bit more about yourself, Krishana?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Krishana Marie. I have been in the Miami tech ecosystem for 3.5 years now. I moved from Atlanta. I am a urban designer and geographic scientist and technologist by trade. So I study urban design and civic systems and basically how those civic systems operate in the sense of building generational wealth. Specifically, I've always focused on Black and Brown communities. So I kind of segued between small businesses and the startup world now. So I'm merging those two worlds as a young professional now. And I would say I'm a heart for heart girl, and I'm a digital equity queen. I ride and die for digital equity. I think it is a civil rights issue right now in our community, and I think it's a very vocal point on where we're going as we digitize ourselves, but also as we bring back the traditions of small businesses and startups. So that's kind of like where I'm at, and I'm just here.
You're just here. Oh my
God.
So digital equity. I hear those two terms, and I think many things. Can you just give a little definition of what it means for you for things to be equitably digital?
Yeah, so digital equity is basically, if you look at something, it is a lot about internet and internet access, but it's not just that. It's the use of internet through small businesses, through the startup community, and how does that create economic vitality for a person. And that can mean something to each person very differently, because we all shape our households, or when we're doing family planning, differently. What I want for my family might not be what you need for your family.
Yeah.
But at the baseline, there are the common needs of water, electricity, shelter, utilities, and now internet. Internet is the baseline across emergency management. It's a functionality of who we are. And I think that to get ahead of the game, we need to understand where digital infrastructure is lacking in our communities. When you go to certain communities, not everybody has access to internet. And then when you do get access to internet, how do you use the internet for the greater good? Because everybody knows the internet is a baby, right? We've heard it before. We've heard it at Tech Tuesdays. We know it is a baby. So in this infancy, how do we nurture it? How do we pour into it? Do we know the system, the frameworking of that? And then how do we use it for ourselves individually? And then how do we cast that on into our community? And you have to handle that with a continuation of care. So that's what digital equity is at a whole.
I love that. Continuation of care. And one of the things I want to just elevate is the idea that the internet, the access to Wi-Fi, the access to be able to connect across the internet is actually a basic need that we have to have in this lifetime, right? Like that's how else, even if you're not a tech person, you still need to know how to connect and be able to connect digitally to the world in order to sustain yourself. It's interesting that you said about the emergency management, because really, if you don't have your phone, you don't even know what's going on from an emergency management standpoint. So like there could literally be a hurricane, earthquake happening. If you're not getting the alert on your phone because you don't have the infrastructure to be connected, then what? Then what happens? Yeah, and you know that there are certain communities who are always, unfortunately, left behind. So I love that you said like this is why this work is so imperative and so important. So I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, pinning off that, like emergency, it's not just emergency management. It's like where are our access points in our community? I'm a avid reader and an avid user of the library. Anybody who knows me, I rock hard for the public library system.
Let's give it up for the public librry system.
Sorry, I like the smell of my library books. I like that my library books are free. Sorry about them always being late, my bad. But I do appreciate the library not charging like the 10 cents no more, because your girl could not have that in college. I was like, where are these fees coming from? I know I'm not late like that. But I appreciate the library system because it's one of those places that no matter who you are, where you are, we can connect to directly. It has an infinite amount of resources for us that can give you an early start to whatever you're doing as an entrepreneur or small businesses, from just checking out a book to going to a workshop, and then that workshop turns into a maker space where you're building something for your business. That small touch point gives you a level of confidence, security, and trust within the community. And then you could take that outside of there. And the next step I would say that I advocate for is co-working spaces like yours.
JT Workspace, let me give a little.
There are a whole bunch popping up in Miami, and I think that those are the second fold into your business plan, because and then you're meeting people who, hey, might have already made it a little bit and they have a service, and then you guys start. I have a service that I'm rendering, you have a service, and then there's another person, and then we become peers, and then that goes into another fold. Then all of a sudden, you in your own space, just like you. So there's little evolutions to it that I see, but at the end of the day, it's about connecting back to the roots of where it starts and then bringing it forth and then just going back. So it's like back and forth, back and forth. It's kind of a little tag,
like forth and forth.
Hey, it's a little tag team there.
I love it. So when I originally met, you were a part of the government, and I wanted to just talk a little bit about the importance that the government and policies have in the work that you're doing in terms of digital equity and supporting entrepreneurs and small businesses, especially our mom and pop shops, our main street small and businesses, and our startup tech founders.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first half of my career, I did spend majority of my time in government by choice. I was like choosing the educational route when I was in college, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a university president. And I was like, your girl's heart's not really calling it there yet. And I was like, something's missing. So I had my start in working in City of Atlanta. I had the opportunity of working in the zoning and development team under Mayor Bottoms at the time. And in that system there's an NPU system. It's called Neighborhood Planning Units. And it's the whole entire alphabet, A through Z, and each one plays a significant role on zoning, development, and small businesses. And this is a civic system that the city of Atlanta basically embedded and codified into a muni code to protect the people of Atlanta. It didn't matter what neighborhood you came from. So it was a very unique historical education experience for me to live and work in that in my early field. And what I learned from there is that I could go to NPUQ and it's like everybody who's already made it, they're retired, but NPUQ is trying to go to NPUP to do development. And then how does that development work for small businesses and infrastructure? What am I looking at a code? And when I say codify things, it means when you codify something legally, you can hold somebody legally responsive and responsive to your community needs without shortcoming anybody. It's at that point you talking business and you're talking about intellectual property. It's two people meeting in the middle to have a common ground and understanding of what the community needs are. Fast forward, I was searching for like something next in my career. I really was very interested in women in politics and women of color in politics, and I had the opportunity of working with Mayor Daniela Levine Cava and creating the innovation and economic portfolio.
So let me just pop in. Mayor Daniela Levine Cava is the mayor of Miami-Dade County here in South Florida.
Yes, and she's phenomenal. She broke a glass ceiling. It was a very interesting. I wasn't part of the campaign. I was too young for that, but I did get an opportunity to build portfolio areas that I would say align to what I learned in the NPU system. Everything that I did around Strive 305, everything I did around digital equity was about learning how to make the system operate for digital equity, essentially. Wow. And I would say in that it was about learning my confidence as a young leader. It was I took a risk on everything. I didn't care where I came from, what I did. I was going to do the job better than anybody, and nobody was going to size me up on anything, let alone nobody was going to come for the integrity of the community as a building. Also, a big thing that helped me was everybody in the community. I went immediately when I got here to the community. I didn't rely on the government infrastructure or the people and all these existing political social parties. No, I went straight to the community. I was in the neighborhood. I was walking the street. I didn't know nothing because I was too in my infancy. It was my job to learn what y'all were already doing and match that energy. And that's what I did. And that governmental experience is really significant right now because you need to pay attention to your IT departments. You need to pay attention to the workforce development initiatives that are coming out. You need to read the Muni Code and those programmings that come out. You need to understand RFPs. You need to understand the procurement process. You need to know every single step of vendor registration, not just Miami-Dade County. I'm talking about Broward County, Tri-County. If you're trying to make these bags, you have to know that. And I will say the government, Uncle Sam will always come for you. They're going to ask you for paperwork. It just comes with the game. But learn to understand that paperwork as a sense of responsibility over yourself and the things you care about most. There's nothing wrong with that. And I would say that kept me grounded. But also everyone here in the community, you guys have gave me a great deal of validation and confidence in my own brand equity and what I need to do on my entrepreneur journey. So I thank everybody in the community for that.
No, it's because you give so much and you're just so giving, but also so knowledgeable, and you share that knowledge. And I think this is also really important because unfortunately, I think this is why I love bringing community. Sometimes people gatekeep the knowledge that they have, and you are always so forthcoming with all of the knowledge that you have. It is an invaluable resource that we have here in the community. You are an invaluable resource, my sister. So thank you so much for the work that you do. And that's why we come back and cover you back in return.
Hearts for days, y'all.
Hearts
Heart it
for
up.
days. Hearts for days. The covering. Yes, always beautiful. Okay, so On that note, let's start wrapping up. What is one word inspiration or a 3-word sentence that you have for our audience?
One word? I have 3 words.
Okay, let's do it.
Dreams, defeats, and devotions. Keep those at your heart.
Dreams, defeats, and devotions.
Keep that at your heart.
Keep
because
that at your heart.
all those are the entry points, because we all have dreams we cast into the world. We all are meted and greeted with the universe's defeats, and those are heavy on us, and they insulate our heart and our mind sometimes, and that's a part that just comes with the territory. And then devotions brings you back to home and why you started what you were doing in the first place.
Yeah, I love that word devotion. I'm like, today we've just been going to church today, so
We
I love that
did.
word devotion. Yes, yes. Church on the Sunday.
Praise
Let's
it
give
up.
it up for Krishana. Thank you so much, Krishana. Appreciate it. Yes, all the heart love. Thank you all for
Thank
being here.
you.
Women Invest in Women. We'll be back right after this break.
What if your brand could travel the world, be seen by millions, and align with a movement that changes lives? Introducing the Women Investing in Women Global Tour, directed by visionary media leader Kitty Rose and moderated by the empowering Kwamara Thompson. Our show reaches 4.7 million homes through broadcast television and is streamed on all major podcast platforms. That means your product, your service, your message, right in front of an audience of investors, buyers, and culture shapers. This is more than media. It's a movement. This is Women Investing in Women. Want in? Limited spots, global reach, real impact. Contact us today to advertise with purpose.
All right, welcome back to Women Invest in Women. We are here at JT Workspace in Hollywood, Florida. Yes, let's give it up for JT Workspace because yes. Black women owned, family owned, all that good stuff. Right. And it has been my pleasure for the last couple of episodes to be highlighting the amazing women I have met here in my new home of Miami. And so I'm going to introduce my friend Jay. Jay, we started we just randomly met at the Red Rooster. I can't believe it. And then we just have built an amazing friendship. So.
Yeah, I met someone who I ended up helping at a different networking event, and then he was there, and
he was at my event. He's like, you gotta meet Kumar. Yeah, and he was like, you gotta meet Kumar. And then she just came on over, and
so I've been part of your community.
You've been part of Let's Make Bread for about 4 or 5 years now. I hardly ever talk about Let's Make Bread, but
half a decade.
Yes. Oh, okay. Now we're gonna date things. Half a decade.
Yeah.
That's right.
So Jay, tell the people a little bit more about yourself.
So my name is Jay Lofton. Do I look here or there? I'm sorry.
You're looking really. We're having a conversation.
Good.
Yeah.
My name is Jay Lofton. I'm an attorney. I'm a litigator. I've been practicing for many years. Quite candidly, my job is to not judge, but it is to listen and make decisions.
We listen and we don't what?
Don't judge.
Don't judge.
And so for many years and for many different situations, I've interviewed thousands of people. I've gone into court to protect those people and all that good stuff. But anyway, that basically made me start to realize that people don't really say what they mean. Oftentimes they have a lot of thoughts and they have a lot of positions and they have a lot of desires, but they don't necessarily share exactly what it is that they're trying to do. And I kind of ran into a situation where one of my close good, guy friends was outside. And I was like, it's time for you to come inside. You need to meet someone that matches, your energy. And so that would be what led me into matchmaking. And I've done it for fun for years. And I have matched 29 marriages.
And let's just give it up again, because Jay has matched 29 marriages. And when because we've been friends, but I actually was reading your bio, because I was like, I know my girl Jay, but like when you read someone's bio, you're like, oh, I'm learning some more stuff.
Yeah.
And you talked a little bit about what it sounds like is, as a litigator, as a lawyer, you have to understand what makes people tick. You have to understand the things that are not being said that you just said. So can you talk a little bit about this gift? Because to me, it's a gift that you have.
I appreciate that. It's a gift / skill. It's, when people come to me, they come to me and they usually are like, hey, I heard that you match people up, match me up. And they think it's impossible. But quite candidly, once you sit down with someone and you kind of get a good idea of what it is that matters to them, what's important to them, what makes them tick, what makes them happy, what makes them uncomfortable, what makes them feel at ease. It's similar to law, and so it's really not that sexy, because we're close. This is I mean, I definitely have no issue being in front of a camera. I've done it, on national television a few times as it relates to law. But when it comes to my matchmaking business, it's not one that I necessarily promote. It's definitely word of mouth, simply because there's a dichotomy between practicing law, which is a very serious environment, versus love. For some reason, people don't believe that those two things can live in the same space. And it's the thing that we all aspire to have. It's the thing that created every single individual that's in this universe.
Yeah.
But it's one that, in serious settings, we don't necessarily think that it's important or we want to talk about. So,
as you were talking about this law and marriage, the word covenant kept coming to mind, because law is a covenant, it's a contract.
Yeah.
And so is marriage. Yes, love is very important. We all understand that. But you're also entering into a contract when you are marrying somebody. So there's actually, now that I'm talking, like, there seems to be more similarities than that.
You're kind of stealing my secret sauce a little bit. No, it's good, because again, I alluded to the fact that it's not really sexy in terms of matchmaking. Like, out of the 29 marriages, and again, this is something that I just started to do because people kind of came to me with need. But out of the 29 marriages, there's only one divorce, and they needed that. That was probably a good thing.
That was a good thing that needed to happen.
Yeah, that was. I mean, there was nothing that could be done in that situation. But I say all this to say that, love. The word love is thrown around like friendship. There's a lot of factors, and there's a lot of ideologies and processes that go into love. But where people fail to think about the bigger picture, it's the intersectionality of love. You're on the other side of that. You're meeting systems, and so oftentimes what I end up finding when I speak to these individuals, everybody wants love, but then you have to ask the person, like, what are your values? What's important to you in terms of your culture?
Yeah.
And so, for example, you might, quote unquote, be in love with the guy you met in the club, and that's fine. Again, I don't judge. I was in the club, so why wouldn't I expect another Wall Street person to be in the club? So, or another attorney to be in the club. But my real point is that what are your values? And so that's where matchmaking starts to look different, and look a lot more like law. Do you need the person to make a certain amount of money? Do you need the person to have certain religious values? Do you need the person to be open to certain experiences or close to them? So it's just an unsexy topic when I get into the nuts and bolts of it, but it's one that I started looking at, and particularly for the BIPOC community, simply because when I started to meet women or even men that are excelling, that are persons of color, they find it more difficult to find someone that is equally yoked with them. So
and those conversations kind of like peel back who you are, and they peel back the vulnerability, because I think when you're talking about people who have reached a level of success, they're used to walking in the world in a certain way, and then you're here asking them questions where they have to actually like look in the mirror and be like, wait, let me be real with myself so that you can really help me have these kinds of conversations. How do you navigate being able to have such vulnerability and trust with people?
It's very tricky for me. The individual, it's kind of like a good doctor. If you give the right anesthesia, then nobody really realizes that they've been cut open until like they wake up, and they don't really, they might feel a little bit, but they don't remember the pain of it. So I think for years of practicing and asking a lot of tough questions, I've learned how to ask questions in a way that the person doesn't necessarily feel as vulnerable as you might think. So I don't know. I really can't probably recall any. I mean, I can't recall. Let me not lie. But I probably shouldn't recall any of the questions that I've asked people, because they would know it's them, so
they're
but
so personal.
they're so personal and targeted to the
Yeah,
individual. So
yeah.
that's why it's important to like kind of sit down with them. So for me, like I've been approached in terms of investments several times. The matchmaking industry is about $2 billion, and it rises every year, like annually, about 3.5%.
Okay.
So I mean, when you think about matchmaking, there's obviously trendsetters. And quite candidly, what most people don't realize is the three largest matchmaking companies are also 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like they just rebrand. So
That's a really good point. Yes, they
yeah,
just come and
yeah,
reiterate on something
yeah.
else.
Like
Yeah.
Match.com is also now black. Single black or whatever it's called. So for me, I feel like my niche is it's quite candidly, if you get the formula right and you put people in the right space and um, you give them the tools that they need to kind of discover themselves, then they will somewhat figure it out. I'm not going to lie, you do need to guide a little bit, and that's what those companies are lacking. And quite candidly, a lot of them are in the business of the business. They don't necessarily
They don't
want
actually
you.
want to match because otherwise
No,
you'll be off their platform, and how are they
exactly.
going to make money off of that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the company I started is called Vetted, and I made it in a way that it's a community. I do want you to get married. I do want you to, or find your partner or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or whatever it is that you want to find. But I'm not afraid of then putting you into a community. We as people of color are oftentimes underestimated, and unlike other races, we're forced to kind of prove ourselves, whether or not it's in work. And if you're not at work, then you have to prove yourself, and then social standing, whether or not it be Jack and Jill, Lynx, or some sort of sorority, or I can go on down the list: holidays, girlfriends, just us. I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah, you're
But
right.
what people fail to understand is all of those groups cost money. I mean, and it costs money annually. We're talking about thousands upon thousands of
Yep.
dollars for you to be able to walk into the room and tell people, "I've made it." Right now, and maybe I don't think I'm spilling anything that's a secret, but this is high season for Martha's Vineyard.
Yep.
If you're not going to the vineyard by the end of next week, who are you? So it's like a lot of keeping up with the Joneses in order for you just to be able to say, I'm on the right level. And I was, it's frustrating for me because personally, we have similar backgrounds. Personally, I've been exposed, but I can't say it's because my parents were like wildly wealthy. It's just that they knew about these different experiences and they wanted to make sure that they put me in whatever it was that gave me the exposure, whether or not it be, undergrad, grad school, law school, like, all of the things, um, violin, you name it. I've been in all of the things that, check the box that
Yeah.
you are, in a
That
certain.
says like a certain status.
Correct, a
Yeah.
certain status.
Yeah.
So it's been a wonderful experience for me personally, but there's so much more than life than paying a bunch of dues and having experiences that maybe not align to who you are. So that's what vetted is: going through, checking the boxes to a certain level, right, and just making sure it's a safe community. So what I've found, and people like are marvel. There's like 29 marriages, and I haven't really flex the muscle. I just haven't. This is more like someone will. I mean, I've stopped doing it. I had stopped doing it for a full year because I'm a partner at a law firm, and that's you know who I'm known to be. But I'd stopped doing it, and of course, someone will inevitably come to me and say like, "Hey, look, I really need your help," and I will stop what I'm doing and I will assist. And there's a couple right now that's about to get married. So and they're
So it's about to be 30 in a minute.
yeah, like
Yeah,
they're
yes, that's great.
gone, and that's good. And I'm happy for him. I'm happy for her. And I have a lot of things to say about it, but I won't go there. My real point is that, again, when it comes to individuals and it comes to finding, if you're looking for a match, you just got to be a little bit more honest with who you are and what you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So of course I feel like I've been on this entrepreneurial journey with you as
Yeah.
vetted, especially as my role when I was doing Founders Live, and you pitched
Oh,
a couple
yeah.
times and you won 2 of the Founders Live pitch competitions. And I know that originally you were thinking about doing tech and you're doing AI. And then the last conversation we had, you were kind of thinking, well, maybe not. Maybe it's more about the relationship and more about the humanity. So can you talk to us a little bit about that journey?
Yeah, I'm doing a duality. I'm a technology attorney, so that means I do transactions for technology companies. And so, it would be remiss for me to not include technology. I mean, I ran a Fortune 10 telecoms and technology group, um, for a while. So it would be not make sense for me to not do it. So when I won the first Founders Live, I showcased my AI.
Yep.
That was a part of the package. So I have, machine learning has been around. Like Microsoft was the inventor of machine learning, and it's been around for over 30 years. In terms of what's happened with AI now, along with machine learning, that's relatively new in the last 5 to 10 years. So for me, machine learning always was there. I had been working with my AI um, module for years. And the thought would be, um, some of the things you kind of know, meaning that like if I've had a conversation with you as a friend for, a year or two, and you're telling me about, this guy, you're telling me about this person, and the conversation's pretty
This
much.
is not about me though, by the way. So
This
let me
is
just let me just throw that out there.
the conversation is going to be cyclical. The information is going to be the same.
Yeah.
It might be different expletives. I might be shocked about what you say this time, but that's what a good friendship is, and that's what the AI buddy is there to do. What I had mentioned to you was I was advised. Again, I've been fortunate because I worked on Wall Street before I went to law school. So in terms of pulling together IPOs, talking to CEOs, and still having friends in those networks, it's been a blessing in the sense that if someone says, "Oh, how much money do you want?" Because this is something that's inevitably going to make money. That's what matchmaking companies do. But I don't want to do the wrong thing. I wouldn't say he's a friend, but someone who is like been supportive of me. Um, and why am I'm blanking on his name? But he is it's a black man. Have you ever heard of Super Soakers?
Yes, yeah.
It's a black man, and he made that by mistake, and so he's a brilliant scientist.
Didn't he just win a lawsuit where
Yes,
yes.
he just got his patent.
Yeah, I literally just saw.
Yeah.
I was like, he literally won this lawsuit. I think
Yeah.
he's owed like $20-some million.
Yes. And so he uses that money to fuel his new his new projects. And I think the current project that he's working on, which is battery life for electric vehicles, he has the longest battery life in the world right now, longer than Tesla or anything else. My real point is that duality of it made me realize that you can do two things at once. You can take your super soaker money. You can take your super soaker money from Hasbro, and you can fuel your dreams. And so, there's no shade against the law. I do enjoy like the strategy behind it, but I also enjoy seeing people like get together. I've been invited to so many weddings in the beginning when I used to hook up marriages. At first, I thought it was a fluke, so I was like, oh. They're like, what can we do? What can we? I was like, oh, just name your firstborn after me. And then,
Lord, how many firstborn children are
do
there?
you know how many J's are out there? So then I was like, okay. I mean, there's so many variants on J. Like, it's ridiculous. There's Jason, there's Jaya, there's like, I mean, it goes down the list.
Oh my God.
There's an Indian couple, like, that's the, so, I mean, I was like, leave these people alone, let these people do your thing. But my hope is to probably go back and do both. I truly enjoy getting to know the person and matching them. But in terms of community and allowing, grown folks to do what they do on their own, usually when I throw a party, an event or whatever, people walk out with a new best friend. So my thought is that if I put together a community of like-minded people, they will all walk out with, whether or not, whatever the relationship might be, whether or not it be a new best friend or be a new partner or whatever else, the community itself will do what it's supposed to do. I don't believe that we have any one space right now for Black and brown people where it's like elevated online. I mean, you have different communities, and what I've seen, it's almost like a new club in Miami. Like it starts off one way, and then a year or two later, it's completely different.
Yes, so true.
So
So true.
that's what it is. So far, so good. I've done it in like small batches because I just want to make sure I get my formula right, and I want to be able to put my boundaries up before I start taking investments.
I
So.
love that. So let's talk a little bit about your actual entrepreneurial journey, the beautiful and the uglies. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So I am a control freak. So this was really tough for me. The idea that I have to rely on other people to give me advice when I'm the advisor, people pay me money to give them advice. And so that part was easy for me. Telling people, no, you can't wear, that to meet his mother. Yes, you have to like, do this, that, and the third. Going through all the advice part was easy, but and then me being a technology attorney, it was very difficult for me to have to sit down. I graduated from a Miami-Dade course here, and which one was it? Oh Lord, Built in Miami.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
Yes, I graduated from Built in Miami, and it was so painful for me. Like the idea that I had to learn. I thought I knew it all, and then I got into this course, and it was just humbling
Wow.
at best. Things like, yeah, I might know the law in terms of technology, and I even gave lectures there on that. But building an app, oh, that was painful. Like when I built 3 iterations, and it was very painful. So I think.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
So you swing up, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
We're so good.
Sorry, I have to edit that one.
No worries.
But yeah, so that was painful. Also learning how to say no and people like being okay with that. I forgot the name of the conference that was here. I actually ended up knowing some of the investors from Wall Street, but saying no, I could have lost my partner on this, but one of the first people to come to me with investment, they came in with a sizable investment. They were like, only one small detail, you have to include a category that's not included in vetted. I was like, that's kind of like not what vetted is about. And they're like, it's no big deal. I can like set you up tomorrow with, the money. I can set you up with, the investors group. You fly you out to San Francisco. And I was like, but that's just not what we set up. And I'm not gonna lie, it was tempting. I talked to my partner who flipped her lid, and that part has been tough. Like having to lean on people and saying no to good money. I like money, like everybody else. So.
Yes, yeah. Having those difficult conversations, because I say all the time, not all money is good money if it's not aligned to what you're actually trying to do, and they want to change what your mission is. But at the same time, we're trying to make money, so having that kind of balance.
And it's like believing in yourself too, because you had mentioned like I think I could say this, but you had mentioned Beyonce earlier today, and I worked on Dangerously in Love, that contract, that album. To see this woman not be an attorney, sit in there and just erase things, like take out her pencil and just, write things in. I was like, who do you think you are? And at the end of the day, I walk those words back as I say them right now. She's like,
she knows what she's doing.
This was a long time ago.
But Dangerously in Love was a while ago when we didn't really. That was the beginning of her solo career.
So my real point is that I think that Veta is going to do what it's supposed to do, and you just gotta like take your time with whatever it is you're going to do.
So if someone wants to start their entrepreneurial journey, what advice do you have?
My advice is, obviously you have to have a conversation with yourself, and make sure this is something that you want to do. But I say lean on the resources, whether or not they be your friends or whether or not they be government or whatnot. I did this weird thing where I racked in like all these grants. I just thought that that's what I needed to do. And then I wasn't even really ready to spend the money, So I think that getting an advisor that has built businesses is, I learned the very, very hard way. It's not the time for you to learn how to do the building of it. It's for you to focus on the business and rely on those who, that's what their job is.
Yeah, the advisor.
Someone else that was interviewed on part of your podcast mentioned the fact that we go to experts all the time for other things. Why not do it in this space? So.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Okay, so we're going to wrap up. What is one word inspiration or 3-word sentence of inspiration for our audience?
If I had 3 words, it would be don't betray yourself.
Don't betray yourself. That is tight. I love that. Thank you so much,
You're
Jay.
welcome.
Let's give it up for Jay. Yes. Women invest in women, and we will be right back.
What if your brand could travel the world, be seen by millions, and align with a movement that changes lives. Introducing the Women Investing in Women Global Tour, directed by visionary media leader Kitty Rose and moderated by the empowering Kwamara Thompson. Our show reaches 4.7 million homes through broadcast television and is streamed on all major podcast platforms. That means your product, your service, your message, right in front of an audience of investors, buyers, and culture shapers. This is more than media. It's a movement. This is women investing in women. Want in? Limited spots, global reach, real impact. Contact us today to advertise with purpose.
All right, we are back. Women Invest in Women. We are here at JT Workspace. We are talking to amazing Florida, South Florida women entrepreneurs. And so I have here with me Zakia, who is event planner, ecosystem builder, and just does so much for the community, has amazing community impact, especially in Overtown.
Yes.
So I love the work that you're doing in
Thank you.
historically Black Overtown.
Thank
So thank you
you.
so much, Zakia. So let's tell the people a little bit more about you.
Okay, where do I start? It's interesting that people know me now in Miami as like by my name, Zakia, because for so long I was Miss White, just a teacher,
That's right.
for about close to a decade, 9 years. So even to hear people call me by my first name is so different for me. And I'm like, yeah, that is me. I have to remember, like, yeah, that's me. That's who I am. So I feel like we're having this conversation at a dynamic time because this is like a rebirth of who I am and who I want to be and how I want to show up. So this is great timing.
Awesome.
But a little bit about myself. Former teacher, was an elementary school educator and school leader for 9 years. I just had this burning urge to do a little bit more. I would spend my summers doing odd things, not really odd, but just like picking up different skills. So I would intern for different people. I would travel to different states and work in different states, just to pick up different skills. And while I was doing all of those things, I kind of got closer to myself in other ways that I wasn't getting in the classroom. And it came to a point when I was in the classroom and I was just like, yeah, I got this desire to do more. I'm very creative. I consider myself a visionary. So I'm just like, there's just so much more that can be done. And while I knew my entire life that I wanted to work with people, I would always say that I want to work with people. I want to work with people. Well, first I used to say I wanted to be a writer, but then I was just like, I just want to work with people. I want to work with people. So in saying that, I didn't know whether it was big people or little people, right? So I started with the little people and now I'm working with big people. And I feel like it just all makes sense because even though I step away from Miss White, she shows up in so many rooms so often, but now as Zakia. So it's great to be in community and be around people and just be of service.
Yeah.
So
I remember you're also part of Let's Make Brand, I believe. And
yes.
You hit me up maybe 2 or 3 years ago and we're like, I know that you used to be an educator yourself, and we decided that we would have a conversation in North Miami. And I think you were thinking about the transition from leaving the classroom and becoming a full-time entrepreneur. Can you just talk a little bit about that leap of faith that you that you took?
Yeah, it was definitely faith. Okay, it was definitely a leap of faith because I didn't know what I was doing, and I'm a person that not needs to, but I like to. I'm not going to say I like to. I just need reassurance. So I'll talk to everybody about everything. Okay. I'm like, I need to know what should I do? Or how did you do it? What worked for you? You know, it's research, right? I just got to go out and kind of gather all of my data before I make a strategic move. And while I was doing all of that, there was no strategy behind it. I just said at a certain point, I am not signing another contract and I'm just going to pray that something comes through. So my entrepreneurial experience was kind of, you closed one door, another door opened, these people need to pay you, do it the right way. Like that's literally how it happened. It was not, I woke up and said, I want to be my own boss. No, I just said, you got to do things the right way and let's figure out what that looks like. And let's, take that walk and enter that journey and just kind of learn. So I'm a very young entrepreneur, very new entrepreneur, but I'm constantly learning along the way. And I always say like the teacher is always the student. So this is just,
I love that.
Reverting back to the
classroom once again.
Yes,
That identity that I can't get away from.
So ZW events.
Yes.
So people know you as throwing these really lovely events throughout. Well, I think you do it across the country. I
Yes.
mean, I certainly haven't seen the ones here in Miami.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about how that has come about, and then your work in Overtown in particular.
So I am very specific in the types of things that I engage in. I again am just the person that's for the people. So I do events that are community facing. And I don't mean like, oh, we're gonna do this big picnic or like concert for the community, but like no, if you have a community of people, and during COVID everyone was like building out these communities online because we couldn't really be in person. But for me, I was just like, okay, so what happens to us being in person again? You know, like, is that gone? Like, do we not go to dinner? Do we not hang out at each other's house? Like, do we not just do those things that we used to do so comfortably so often?
Yeah.
So when I picked up being in the event space, it was all about bringing people together for in-person experiences. And that was me curating experiences for people's community. One of my very first clients was Black Ambition, and I coordinated their first dinner where we brought everyone together just to have dinner. And it's like, it sounds so simple, but for some people in that moment, it was such a foreign concept because we were closed. Well, semi-closed in Florida, but we were told that we shouldn't be doing these things anymore. And then it's like, oh, you're about to do this thing. And then I was able to take that from this one thing to, oh, now we're going to host a brunch over here with this client. And now I'm going to go on this tour with this client, and we're going to host brunches in multiple cities. And now I have access to this building, so I'm about to start hosting events over here. And now I have access to a garden, so I'm going to have dinner parties over here. So it just became like my thing to just find ways to bring people together. And it's not bringing people together for like birthday parties, baby showers, weddings, but it's like very intentional around community building and capacity building. So,
what are some of your learnings from doing all of those events?
Some of my learnings, that's interesting. I think what's most interesting when working with people is that while some of the biggest people in the room, or who present themselves as the biggest person in the room, can find ways to be the smallest person in the room. And it's because sometimes they don't know what they're stepping into, and they also don't know how to navigate the room that they're walking into. So you can be this top person at your company, but then you get around all these people and you don't know how to engage. You don't know how to host a conversation. You don't know how to just let your hair down because you're so used to just being at the top and everyone's there for you. But now when it's just like, hey, we're just breathing and like we're just having fun, we're playing a game of Uno, like you can unbutton that top button.
Uno has gotten very serious again lately. Like y'all be seeing that all over social media. Uno is a thing.
It's like, and it's things like that, those very casual moments that kind of show you a person's personality without something that you won't read on paper, right? Because if I throw out a draw two and you gonna keep going, it's like you're not gonna save me here. Like you're not gonna swap a hand or something with me. Like, okay, this is how we're playing. This is what we're doing. So it's like you get to learn people through those different experiences. I love dinner parties because now you have different conversations. And you're really learning about a person's culture and about their values and their habits. So that's just my thing. Like people aren't who they say they are. That's what I'm gonna say. People are not always who they say they are. You have to have those deeper experiences to really get the connection that you want to have with people, or to make that connection for you to really learn who they are.
So I go to a lot of events, and I will say that a ZW event is always very curated and very intentional, and it's also always beautiful. Every time I come into the space, all of the details that you have. So what is that the creativity? Like, where does that come from? And how do you manage everything from the visionary to like making sure that the smallest details are on point?
You know what it is? It's the Miss White in me.
Okay.
Because it's I try to get away from it, but I can't escape it that so much of what I learned as being a classroom teacher shapes how I show up for other people. Because as a classroom teacher, you have to go in with the plan. Literally. Like, unless you're just gonna have chaos. Like, kids' attention spans are so short. So if you don't have a plan, if you aren't thinking about, oh, this student over here, he really likes to draw. So when he finishes his work, I should have something for him to draw, or I should have time where he can actually draw. Like I have to think for other people. And I always think with the end in mind. So I think, okay, how do I want people to walk away? What do I want them to feel? What do I want them to say about the experience? So as I think about all of those details, it's backwards planning. That's what we call it in an educational world, but I'm thinking for others. So I try to be not just about the aesthetics and about what I like, but really, how do I want people to feel? What do I want them to say when they leave, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no,
it's that teacher in me.
Yes,
She just,
the teacher in you. Yeah, I think
yeah.
that, well, obviously, as a former educator, I think teachers are extremely valuable in society, but we have so many skills that are transferable, and you're just a testament to that. And I always walk away feeling amazing from one of your events. So again, thank you, Zakia.
Thank you.
I did want to say, so like, you know, you talked about you were in the classroom. I'm not going to sign another contract. I know I want to do something else. What is that something else? If someone is on the cusp of thinking about, I want to leave my job, I want to become an entrepreneur, what advice would you have for them?
Yeah. Because I know what I really want to say,
Say
and
it,
it's
girl.
going to
This is the
sound
part. Let's do
cliche.
it.
You just got to do it.
You just got to
Like
do it.
you have to do it, and you have to walk by faith. Because even with the most calculated plan, you don't know what's going to happen. So you just literally have to stay prayed up and just know that the decision that you are making in that moment is the decision that you should be making. And you have to trust it and do everything with discernment. Like just, again, it's a Sunday, so I'm going to say you got to stay prayed up in everything that you
Stay
do.
prayed up.
You have to, because that's the only way that you'll be able to do anything confidently.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, like, oh, I have this much savings and da da da. You can get a bill the next day. Your whole bank account could get what do they call it? Fraudulent. Like you don't know what's gonna happen.
Baby, I can tell you all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, we've all been there as entrepreneurs.
You don't know what's
right.
going to happen. Something may cost you a lot more than what you thought it was going to cost. You just don't know anymore. But you have to just continuously have faith. I'm in a faith walk right now. I'm like, I don't know if this is the right direction that I want to go to. I know I need more of this. I'm thinking about, I'm just like, you know what, trust the process. You just show up every day, you do your best, you know that your community is going to be there for you, and you make it happen.
Yeah,
so
you make it happen. I love that. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up. Actually, before we wrap up, what is something that the audience may not know about you?
Something that the audience may not know about me is that although I'm like always around people and all for the people, I grew up an only child. And I think that also plays a big part in why I love being around people, because as an only child, like I didn't have siblings to do things with. I had to wait for the adults to come in. Hey, you want to play this game with me? But like at the end of the day, they're tired.
Yeah.
So that's also more reason why I just try to show up for other people, because I'm like, I remember when it was just me and all my teddy bears and all these dolls, and everybody had a voice and everybody had a job. Everybody had something to do, you know, but it was just me. It was literally just me for so long. And then I just got used to it. So now I'm like, I don't want anyone to ever feel how I used to feel when it was just me.
I love
so
that.
That's something that people don't know.
So yeah, I did not know that you were an only child. On the other hand, I'm the oldest of four, and yet that's why, even though people think that I'm extremely extroverted, I'm super introverted. I only go out and about because that's part of the work that I do.
Right.
Otherwise, I like to just be home by myself, because when you have three other siblings in the house, you're like, I'm tired of being around people.
I can understand.
So I totally understand that. Okay, so as we wrap up, what is one word or 3-word sentence of inspiration that you have for our audience?
Sentence of information. 3 words. Sorry, inspiration. Okay, yep. Stay prayed up. There we go.
There we go. Stay prayed up.
Stay prayed
Sunday.
up.
Let's give it up for Zakia.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Women Invest in Women. You can find us on all podcast platforms, on our YouTube, and also on all TV streaming platforms as well. We are a global economic ecosystem centered around sisterhood, humanity, and the diaspora. You can also join our 10,000 strong campaign. So for $99, you get to have your name in the credits, but most importantly, you are investing in women and public access media. You can also sponsor and partner and collaborate with us. Until next time, peace. Women Invest in Women. Thank you so much.
Podcast.